everybody. Hey, Instagram. I am back on Instagram. It has been a while since I've been on both Instagram and on YouTube. So welcome everyone for joining me. I am here alone tonight. For those of you on YouTube, you have been used to me over the last several weeks having a co-host in Twins Inc., but he's off doing family stuff. So I am here tonight to continue our relationship chronicles conversation. I am hoping everybody can hear me. I have a headset in, so I'm hoping everybody can hear me. But yes, I wanted to continue with the relationship chronicles discussion. I'm going to give it a bit for people to jump in, but I hope everybody's week has been good. I hope the weekend was amazing. The weather in Toronto has been interesting. It's been a lot of thunderstorms and rain, and just when you think you're about to have a good weekend, it changes on you. So I'm hoping that as summer comes, which is about 2 weeks away, week and a half away, that we'll actually get a really good summer, because last summer as well, we had a lot of rain. So I'm definitely not looking forward to that, because there's a rooftop kind of patio pool where I live. And all of last summer, I moved in March, and it was completed. My condo was still under construction when I moved in. And I think they completed it by about June, end of June, maybe earlier, maybe end of May, beginning of June. And all summer, I thought I was going to be able to use it, and the weather was just not great. So hopefully that will change. But anyways, relationship chronicles. Always want to talk about relationships. For those of you who are on YouTube, I do have the link in the comment section if you would like to join the show to ask a relationship question. Tell me about a relationship success, a relationship dilemma, maybe a dating disaster. Let me know what is going on with you. And I will share what's going on with me. I do not pretend to be an expert in relationships. I am just a woman with decades of experience dating, having been married, been engaged, all of that stuff. And I study people. So I would love to be able to have discussions with all of you about what is going on in the dating landscape or landscape or sphere or whatever it is. I've been actually, interesting enough, hearing just a lot of dating disaster stories recently. So to loop you guys in, I have been on dating apps. I do dating apps. I just find that apps are better for me. I don't meet people in person as much as people think that I do. Like, there are people who think that, like, oh, you walk down the streets and men are constantly talking to you. That's actually not my reality. It's very rare that men are just randomly coming up to me because they see me. Yes, I get compliments, but I don't really get that type of attention I find in person, but I get a lot of it online. Now, I've talked about attention versus intention, which is important, but I found that with online dating, I'm able to weed out um, the undesirables based on asking questions, and we don't have to move to the next level of phone calls and so forth. But as I have been on the dating streets, I've been hearing a lot of dating disasters from men. Men, interestingly, who are ready to be committed and ready for relationships, have been telling me how women they are encountering are playing the field. And so I thought that was an interesting switch, because we always hear the opposite of men playing the field and not knowing what they want and not being intentional. But I'm hearing from some men that they're meeting women who are in a space where I don't know if it's because they're waiting for better options, whatever the case might be, but they are saying that they're not ready for commitment. So I'd love to understand what is happening. I will tell you for myself that I am very intentional about my dating. I'm very intentional when I meet someone in terms of what I am looking for. And for me, it's marriage, and settling down, and being in something long term. And I tell people that right off the bat, like right off the bat, like I am a person who, like, I just do not waste time. I am the person who, when someone says what you are looking for, I'm very much like, listen, I'm looking for marriage. I'm looking for long term commitment. I'm looking for that. And if you're not, let's not waste each other's time, because I don't have a lot of time left on this earth. That's the way I look at it. Like, I'm closer to end of life than beginning of life. And so for me, it's like, this is what I'm looking for. And if these are not your intentions, then no, thank you. That works for me. I don't know why. I don't know what I'm doing differently than some women are doing. Um, but I know it definitely works for me when I say very clearly my wants, my needs, my values, my goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm very clear about that. And maybe that's the key. I'm very clear about what I want, but I'm also very clear about what I don't want. And I express that very easily to people. And I'm also very quick to cut something off if it in reality isn't what I'm looking for. I am not going down a path of, hey, let's see what this could be and let me show him who I am, because even though he says he doesn't necessarily want a relationship, maybe if he gets to know me, he'll see that I'm a good woman and change his mind. To me, because again, a man guides the relationship, and if a man is already in a space where he's saying, I am just not in a relationship mindset, I am not at my big age gonna try to change your mind on what you want. Because to me, if a man doesn't want a relationship, and just for men, if a woman doesn't want a relationship, like, I'm not here to change someone's mind. And I think that's the interesting part about dating, because dating is to gather information to determine who is best suited for you. Like, to me, that's the whole point of dating, is that you're gathering intel when going on these dates to determine with whom you should do life. And I am talking to those of you who are intentional about doing life. If you're just trying to have fun, this conversation clearly is not for you. But if you are a person who is attempting to do life with someone, then that's what dating does. It's that stage of going out with people, getting to know people, figuring out who you vibe with, figuring if somebody's on the same wavelength of you. Do you share the same goals, same ambitions, same values? Do you want the same things? Is this someone you could see spending your time with? Do you enjoy spending time with them? What do you enjoy about them? Do they meet your needs in life versus your wants? That's a conversation that twins and I had last week, about me talking about learning the difference between my needs and my wants, and how important that is, especially at this stage in my life. I feel as if I was always chased by my wants, but ignored a lot of my needs. And I promised myself I would not do that anymore. And so I have gone in boldly and fiercely in dating, very clear about what needs I need met in a relationship, and making sure that the person that I'm with, that they're meeting those needs, as opposed to me just going down the checklist of my wants. And I think even when you make that checklist of things that you're looking for in a person, is it full of things that you want, or that would be nice to have, or full of things that you personally need? And I think that's like, dating is supposed to be personalized. Dating is supposed to be, what is it that you need based on the life that you are currently living and the life that you desire. That is it. I'm finding that I'm hearing a lot of stories about dating as if it's something for social media, as if like people are dating for content. That's a good way to put it, right? Like, are people dating for content? Because it seems as if that's the stories I have been hearing of people actually dating for content, and that's not cool. I don't see why that should be a thing of I'm going on dates so that I can put something up on my social media. Like, that's just not um the way that I would suggest someone dating, but I've been hearing more and more stories that's actually how people are dating, and that's not cool. Especially if you are serious. Like, that just, again, the audience that we speak to here on this show are grown adults, latter 30s to 50s. And to be speaking to people my age and older where they're feeling as if they're people who are dating for content is a little alarming to me. Um, it's very alarming. So, I really wanted to. I do wish Twins was here. It's always interesting. I realize that as much as I'm comfortable doing this show by myself, having that male perspective is always good to be able to bounce ideas from, because I think having respectful discourse um, with the opposite sex is important because we get to understand how each other thinks, and I think that's important. I mean, that's always one of my dating tips for ladies as they are looking to get into a relationship. Are you speaking to the men in your life? What conversation are you having with the men in your life about dating and about whether or not you are in a position to attract the man that you want? Because, you know, as long as you're a woman with a slit, you can have relations with a man. You can absolutely have sex with a man and you can go out on dates. But it does not mean that you have the qualities and attributes to attract the man that you want to do forever with. And are you open to having conversations with men in your life to determine if you are the type of woman, assuming those men are stand-up men and men who reflect the type of men that you would want, are you the type of woman that they would court? And what type of women are they looking for? And using that intel to be able to, if it is that you don't have the qualities and attributes, or physically you're not their type, or whatever it is, are you willing to put in the work? Because relationships just don't happen, right? They just don't happen. Yes, is it possible that two people can meet and instantly connect? Absolutely. I've had that experience in my life more than one. But it's because I've already done the work on myself. So when that man showed up, I was in the form that that particular man desired and wanted. I wasn't trying to do the work and using him as research to become the woman that he wanted. While we were dealing with it, I had already become that woman. And so when he met me and connected with me, it was like, oh, here she is. And commitment happened. But you can't be with the dating the man you want, or trying to date the man that you want in a package that that man doesn't desire. And it's the same for men. You can't be saying that you want a particular type of woman, but you're not in a position to date those women. Anywho, there is a clip that I wanted to share with all of you. And the clip was a woman talking about clearly relationships and why people are getting into relationships. And I find it extremely interesting. So I want to share it with you. And I would love to hear. people's thoughts on this. And here we go.
How do you know if you should settle down or pass up for someone better? That's a great question. I even want to hear this answer.
I think that a lot of people are in relationships because they can't afford a rent on their own. A lot of people are in relationships because they don't want to fall asleep by themselves at night. A lot of people are in relationships because their mom or dad tell them that they're getting too old. A lot of people are in relationships for the wrong reason. And the truth is, when you get to a space where you love you enough to get rid of the noise that comes from outside of you, the people, the places, the things, the biases, the societal norms, when you get outside of all of that, now you can powerfully choose. I'm choosing you because I want you, not because I need you. Although I'm not going to act like I don't need you. I'm going to move like I genuinely want you in my life. And until you get to that point, I don't think you should be in a relationship.
I agree.
She said what she said. Are you trying to be in a relationship for genuine reasons? And are you currently staying in a relationship for genuine reasons? Or are you in that space because of some of the reasonings she gave in that video? So I think that's the interesting aspect in terms of being in a relationship, right? Like, why do you desire a relationship? Why do you desire commitment? Why do you desire marriage? What does marriage fulfill in your life? What do you bring to a marriage? What would you bring to a husband or to a wife? And I don't know if enough of us ask ourselves that question. We just say that it's something that we want, but we don't think about why do we want it? And if we were to get it, are we in a place that we can sustain it? Because it's one thing to say, I desire a relationship. I desire X. But once you get X, it's assuming that you get X, you get these things that you want. Can you sustain that thing once you receive it? Because if you're not in a space, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, that you're able to sustain this thing that you so craved and you so desired, then eventually that thing falls apart because you weren't ready to receive it. And I think sometimes what happens is we then blame the other person as to why that thing was not sustainable, instead of looking within ourselves to say, was I in a place where I could sustain the thing that I asked for? Because it's easy to ask for and desire things. It's another thing to be able to sustain it. It's also easier to blame other people when something fails, instead of taking an introspection into ourselves to determine what role did I play in the failure and the demise of, and for the sake of this conversation, we're talking about relationships. I say it all the time on this show. I am the common denominator in all of my failed relationships. So if I have had 4 failed relationships in the last decade, I am the common denominator in all 4 of those failed relationships. And I really need to look into myself and say, why do I keep failing at something that I so desire? Because I'm very clear about the fact that I desire marriage. I'm very clear about the fact that I want long-term commitment. I'm very clear about the fact that I want to do forever with someone. Yet along the way, I have failed when those opportunities have been presented to me. So for me to turn around and blame the other person for the demise would be me not, and it's not even just, it's more than taking accountability. It's for me not doing the work that's required to make sure that I can actually maintain the thing that I say that I want. And so, when we are talking about relationships and we're talking about dating and we're trying to figure out this landscape, I think we really need to be mindful and thoughtful about, am I in a position to receive the thing that I say that I want? And to follow up on last week's conversation that we had was, and are the things that I want the things that I actually need? As I said on last week's show, I have for many years focused on my wants to the detriment of my needs, to the complete detriment of my needs. I was chased by my wants and I loved every part of it. I was like, yep, this is the things that I want. And I went through my list and I was like, this is great. Not realizing that those wants weren't actually filling the needs for my life. And everybody's needs are different. Social media should not dictate your needs. A lot of your needs in relationships are individual. It is about where you've been, where you are, and where you want to go in life. And what do you need in order to get there? This is who I am today, but I also know who I want to be tomorrow. And is this relationship, is this person that I'm with, are they going to be able to fulfill these needs and desires that I want beyond the wants? And the wants are often like the pretty shiny package that something comes into. And then you flip away the package and you have to get to the product, right? After all the package is gone. A lot of our wants are that pretty shiny package. And I feel like a lot of us, as I'm hearing, because again, speaking to a lot of men recently about their dating experiences, I'm hearing a lot more of women wanting the pretty shiny package. And when they get one pretty shiny package, they think, okay, since I've gotten this pretty shiny package, I can wait around for another pretty shiny package that's going to be even shinier than this one. And ladies, I have to be open and honest with you. At our big age, that's just not reality. Are some of us fortunate enough to be in a position where we get courted by several men that meet the requirements that we're looking for? Yes, some of us do have that opportunity. But that's not all of our reality. All of our reality isn't that we're going to get bigger, better, shinier packages and so we can see one come in and say, okay, well, he's got all these great qualities, but you know what? I'm holding out for something better. Stop it. Because the reality is, as a 44-year-old woman, I recognize that in this dating market, I am also competing for some of the same men as women that are in their late 20s and early 30s. The men that date me at 45 and maybe even a little bit younger at 40, they can still go and date 28 to 35-year-olds. I'm almost a 45-year-old woman and I'm playing in that same pool. So I'm not going to sit around and be in a space thinking, oh yeah, one came, so there'll be a next one behind him. So let me hold out for bigger, better, shinier. Because why are you even wasting your time? Like, I'm not even going to waste a week or two on someone who realistically doesn't meet the requirements that I'm looking for. And I'm very clear about my requirements. Now, we're not going to get everything we want, people. We're not at all going to get everything that we want in dating. But as long as you're getting your core essential needs with a sprinkling of your wants, what else are we looking for? What are we waiting for in this dating market? Now, I'm not saying that you're going to go be with a man just because he's there. No. But if the man is consistent, if he's showing up for you, if he's being intentional, if he is, the core, he shares the core values that you share. When he looks at the future and he talks about the future and the outlook on the future, you're seeing so many of the things that you are also looking at. I just not sure, ladies, what else we're looking for. Now, granted, I will tell you, I am probably as shallow as they come in the dating market. I will own my shallowness. My king is not short. I do not date short men. I don't desire short men. I don't want to be with the short men, and I blatantly ignore short men. I've the show's called "Fuck Your Feelings" for a reason. I'm very clear about me. So I recognize that I have a very limited pool of men over 6 feet that I can date. I've been blessed that 95% of the men that I have been in serious relationships. Actually, no. All the men I've been in serious relationships, I was like 95%, girl. No. All the men I've been in serious relationship have met my height requirements and then some. But I also have prepared myself in many ways, and one of those ways is physically, to be what that man wants. I'm emotionally generally what that man wants. I'm spiritually, I'm physically, I'm emotionally, I'm intellectually, even in some of my mannerisms. Like, I have studied some of the things that the men that I want, and I am that thing. Like, this is no joke. Like, dating is something to be taken seriously. It's to be studied. It really is. You are supposed to take, as I said earlier, you're supposed to take every date that you go on as intel. I don't care if you make notes on your phone, if you got a notepad, whatever you do, but you are supposed to take intel, and every date that you go on, especially the ones that are unsuccessful, you need to determine what made them unsuccessful. What were the things that you ignored prior to going on the date, that you should have caught before the date, and what happened on the date that made it the way it is and made you disinterested in potentially another date with someone, or them disinterested in a date with you. What did you do? What behaviors do you need to modify? Um, all those things are supposed to be done the same way we study to get good grades, and we study to pass exams, whether it's a bar exam or any other exam, the same way we, study if we want to get a promotion, and we take a look and we shadow what the person that's in the role that you want is doing so that you can do it even better, and you try to learn every aspect of the job and refine it and make it better, is the same way you should take that approach to dating. So, but a lot of us are lazy daters. And we just think, oh, well, a relationship's just supposed to happen because I say I want it. No, no, absolutely not. That's just not, that's just not how it goes. I wish it was. I actually wish that it was that easy. I have had certain things easier than others. I have definitely had easier breaks in some women I've heard. I've been blessed in many ways. However, it's not like I snap my fingers and there's some men just ready, they're willing to be with me. There's work that goes into that. But I also recognize that I'm willing to do the work because the work that I do will lead to a desirable outcome. And so when we are dating and we're, saying we want to be in relationships, like, why? You need to ask yourself, why do I want to be in a relationship? And until you can answer that question, I say just remove yourself from dating, because it's going to become an unpleasant experience. Because I won't lie, over the last few months, And this is no offense to the men I have gone on dates with in the last 6 months. I just was getting some mess. Like I was getting men who looked like they were looking for hospice wives because they had all of these ailments of like one had like epilepsy, the other one had lupus and arthritis. It was just weird. I was like, are these men looking for hospice wives? Because I'm very confused why I'm encountering these men with these ailments. Like, no, like I'm not trying to. I started doubting like what the heck is going on, and I had to take myself away from dating for a couple of months because I was like, I need to recalibrate. Something is not right here. Back to back, I'm good. And I recalibrated and came back better than ever. And then my circumstances changed. You guys will hear more about it later on. But not later on this show, just later on, period. But I had to recalibrate because I was like, something is off because this is the type of person I'm attracting, and this is not what I'm looking for. So I had to go back to the drawing board and figure out what was going on with me and what I was missing as to why this was the crop of men that were coming my way. And maybe do more intel and ask questions. Either way, anyways, I wasn't going to spend a lot of time tonight on the show because one, I'm actually starving, and two, my co-host is here, so the conversation's a little bit differently. But I definitely wanted to jump on because I've just been hearing things in the streets, people. I do a lot of intel. I have a lot of conversations. I am a conversationalist. I love conversation. And I think we need more conversation. We need to, and honestly, even when you're having a conversation with someone, I actually have like pre-planned questions in my mind. Like I'm very serious about this dating thing, relationship thing. Like I have pre-planned questions before someone even gets my number. They've gone through the preliminary questions that I have. I've shared that before on the show. But to repeat, the main questions that I ask men are: do they have children? If yes, how many children? If more than one, how many mothers? I ask the age of the children. I want to know if they've ever been married and what are the relationship with the mother or mothers of those children. I want to understand that background story because if I'm with someone, that becomes part of my life. And is that something that I can deal with? If they have a tumultuous relationship with the child's mother or their ex-wife, is it something that I really want to get into? Is there court-ordered support? What does the custody arrangement look like? I want to understand more because if I am putting myself in that situation, is this something that I want to deal with? Like I ask a lot of these preliminary questions, and then based on the answers of that, we move to the next level where I dig a little bit deeper. I want to find out about your family. How did you grow up? Did you have a relationship with your father? Do you know who your father is? I started asking people, and talking about the difference between being raised in love and being raised in survival, because there's a difference. And I'm learning from me that I'm just not compatible with someone who was just raised on survival. We're not compatible. And so if I'm learning that someone was raised on survival, then I need to dig a little bit deeper. What did that look like? What work did you do? You know what I'm saying? How do you receive love? Like I really start digging in because like coupling is not something to be taken lightly. And I know that there are women who go around having babies and like their souvenirs. And it's like and you get a baby, you get a baby, you get a baby. I've never been that woman. I have one child on purpose. Because I always saw my life in a certain way. And I did not think I was going to be 44 and unmarried. I got married at 28, thinking that that would last. It didn't. And I had to, recalibrate again and figure out my life. I got engaged, didn't head to the altar. I had to recalibrate again and figure out what I was doing wrong. And every step of the way, I'm just like, this is what I now need to do to get the result that I want, right? It's worked in my professional life. So for me, it's like, okay, if I have this desire for my personal life and I've done something that works for my professional life, I need to apply the same thing. You don't just, take a job that well, I have never had to just take a job I hate just because. Like when I'm doing interviews, I'm assessing the jobs and I'm comparing them against each other and why would take one over the other and what would the impact of my life be. Yes, one might have more money, but does it require more time? And is this time that I'm willing to invest? Because if I have to be on salary and work 60-hour weeks, but it pays $20,000 more. Yet this one, it's going to be a lighter job and it's 35 to 40 hours, and I'm in a place where that $20,000, yeah, it'd be nice, but not when I balance it out, because I'm going to end up basically being paid the same amount. Like there's so many things that you're considering when you are job hunting. Well, when you are in a position where you want to be as a woman, seen as a wife, you need to be really taking this dating thing seriously. I mean, that's just how it is. And ladies, honestly, I love us, but we don't have as many options as we think we do. I'm sorry if I'm the first one to ever tell you this, but you need to listen to me. Ladies, again, we do not have as many options as we think we do. Some of us do have options, but even the ones of us who have options, there is still the difference between the option who is showing you attention and the one who's intentional with you. And that is something I'm always going to drive home on the show is any woman, again, with a slit can have attention. It doesn't mean that she's meeting men with intentions. And I know the social media landscape has made us feel like we have all of these options. You put up a picture on Instagram and you get all the likes and you get all the comments, and maybe a couple of people slide into your DM and you're thinking that you're hot-ish. Many of us don't have as many options as we think that we do, me included. I say to people all the time, I don't even get as much attention as people think that I do. But I've had to learn the difference between attention and intention. And there are men who will have a lot of attention for me, but no intentions with me. And so going around thinking that I have this myriad of options, that's just not a realistic place for me to be in. There are plenty of men who will have sex with me. There are not plenty of men who will change my last name. That's just the dating landscape. But we have conflated it and thinking that it's the opposite. That just because he's giving you attention means that he's going to have intention. And so, the likes and the DMs and so forth. Oh no, yeah, if a good man comes around, I'm just waiting for like I said, a better version of this man. I've learned my lesson. I can personally tell you. I definitely have learned my lesson. That is just it's not true. And I'm a damn good woman, and I know that it's not true. I am a damn good woman in many aspects. Many aspects. Tick, 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 tick off the list. And I still know that my options are limited based on several factors of my life. And so when a good man comes my way, I am not ignoring that, thinking I'm looking for the bigger, brighter, shinier version of him. Okay, he's 6'1". Well, I wanted him to be 6'5". And even though he's 6'1", I'm just going to wait for Mr. 6'5". Oh, Mr. 6'4" has showed up. He's not quite 6'5", but maybe if I get 6'4", maybe I can get 6'7". And so, like, or he's not the CEO, he's the director, and so, or the manager, and I really wanted the director. So if I've gotten the manager, I can probably get the director, but if I get the director, I can probably get the CEO. So the direct, like, there's a lot of women who seem to be playing that game and losing at it because of these unrealistic expectations that are now in dating. Anywho, I'm going to stay on a few more minutes. If any of you who are here would like to join the conversation again, to tell me about, or I don't know why I started scratching my skin, because my skin's actually not scratching. Very weird. Anywho, to tell me about a dating disaster, to ask me a dating question, to tell me a dating success story, to give me relationship advice, any of those things, I will stay on a few more minutes. You can click the link that's in the comment section. I have pinned it. You should see where it says to join the chat, and there is a StreamYard link. You would click on that link, go in the backstage, and then I would accept you and we can have the conversation. If not, that's fine. Twins will be back next week and you guys will get our regular male-female perspective. But I really wanted to have this conversation because honestly, I've been surprised by some of the information I have been hearing from the men in my life about dating. Because in my mind, I'm like, no, it's not as bad as I'm hearing. And then I hear real life stories about dating and expectations and behaviors. And I'm like, what? Is this actually what's happening? I can't believe this. Because I still have this rosy perception of what dating is. Like I have this sometimes, I feel like innocent idea of what dating is. Like you meet someone, you connect, you get together, you have fun, you enjoy each other's company, you have great conversations, right? Like you have pure intent, you have all of that. And then I hear all this and I'm like, I clearly do not live in the realistic land of dating because some of these stories I've been hearing recently is ridiculous. And also, ladies, I'm gonna say this because I love you, and I can only speak from a woman's perspective. I feel like I've been saying this for the last 3 years, but I heard a story recently, just yesterday, from a very attractive male friend of mine. Like he's quite more of an acquaintance, but he's a very, very attractive man. And he told me a story, and essentially the crux of the story is a woman trying to use sex, her vagina, to get out of him what she wanted. And ladies, it never works. And even if it does, it's not for the average woman. Do not look at above average women if you're an average woman and try to take her moves and apply it to your life, because it's not fair. Dating isn't fair, life isn't fair. It's not fair. The things that I do, a woman less attractive than me cannot do it. And the things that a more attractive woman than me does, I can't necessarily do those things. But I'm finding more and more, hearing these stories of men who women desire, trying to use their vagina as some type of leverage to get in a relationship. And as the woman on the receiving end of the story, ladies, we actually look foolish because the men know that you're doing it and they're going to have sex with you. Absolutely. They're going to have sex with you, and you can think that that's awful, and you can think what jerks they are, and you can think all of that. But the reality is you're giving them the vagina. You're giving them the vagina without the commitment, hoping it's going to get you a commitment, and then be mad when it doesn't net you the commitment, even though nothing about this man saying that he wanted to commit to you. And I hear so much of these stories from men in my life that I'm starting to be like, we got to change the game. Like, we need to have a conversation at the next women's committee because this is now getting ridiculous. Vagina is not the key to getting into a relationship. It's just not, ladies. Please stop it. Because the reality is you would actually get more. I know it seems like the weirdest thing. Oh no, like if I'm competing, I'm going to show him what he would be missing with me. And then I hear from these men, if she just waited, like she wanted too much too soon, or I wasn't feeling like her like that. And I told her, but she still wanted to hang out. And if she's going to give me sex, I'm going to take it because that's the reality. And these are not men that are assholes. These are good men. But they're still men. And I don't know, sometimes we want to hold men to a higher standard than we hold ourselves. If you hold yourself to a high standard, a man is either going to try to get to your standard or he's not. But you can't hold yourself to a lower standard and expect a man to hold you at a high standard. That just doesn't work. So if you're going to try to use some leverage to get the men that you want, I'm just going to recommend that sex isn't it. I have been chosen by men to whom I have not given sex before they chose me. No sex, no intimacy, no nothing. My previous relationship, that's what happened. Before we even kissed, touched, anything, we were in a relationship. And that relationship lasted for almost 3 years because I was very clear about what I wanted. I was very clear about what I wasn't going to do. I was very clear about all of that. Very clear. So it is possible. And my ex was, go back and watch this show. You'll see him. So this trying to use sex as leverage because a man is good looking or he's tall or he has money or whatever the case might be, I'm telling you, ladies, the men are telling me that it's not working. Because I'm doing my intel. The men are telling me it's not working. And I will tell you, in my life, I've had men commit to me, or the men that you guys say that you want, and they've never touched me. No part of their body has been touched by my body. Committed, ready to do the thing. And so you've got to figure out, if it's not my vagina, what is it that I have to offer the men that I want? And again, I don't speak to men about what they should do. This is why I have a male co-host, and I will forever have a male co-host that speaks to men. I speak to women because I talk to men about what's going on in the dating, and they are honest and tell me, and we are messing it up for ourselves. So that is what I got for you tonight. I am hungry. I made some jerk chicken wings and some basmati rice and corn, and I want to go and eat it. So I'm going to bid you all adieu. Twins Inc. will be back next week. I will be starting having some other special guest hosts. I'm also going to start having shows outside of Tuesday, and doing maybe a couple of shows a week. The show is going to expand. I'm going into season 6 in, oh my God, next week is the end of season 5. I did 25 shows a season, and this is the 24th for season 5. God, I've been doing the show for a long time. So season 6 is going to start in 2 weeks, and I am going to be doing some changes. If you would like to be a guest co-host, or if you just like to be on the show and have conversations, again, each week the link is going to be in the bio. But if you want to email me and plan a specific date that you want to be on, let's do it. It's fyftheshow@gmail.com. fyftheshow@gmail.com. You can also DM me on Instagram if that's better. DM me. The show is under the same name, Fuck Your Feelings, the show, on Instagram, or you can also just comment and at me, and then I will reach out to you. Give me your details and I can reach out to you. But email or DMs are probably the best way, because again, I am on a mission to change the conversation around Black relationships. I want to see more Black love and less Black dysfunction that we are seeing online. And so every week I'm going to show up and have these discussions. So I appreciate all of you. I am getting hungry because I can smell my food. See you next week. Again, twins will be back. And if you want to be on the show next week, the link will be in the bio. So good night. Bye.